the sexy part about having a cool organizational system is you are going to be efficient as hell. Right? That's pretty sexy.
What designer doesn't want that?
But think about it. Like once you have a system in place and you know where everything is, you don't spend any unnecessary time looking for that shit.
Yes.
And you know how, like, that's like, sadly, most of my t-shirts are black. But, you know, I don't have to stress in the morning, like, what t-shirt am I going to wear? I'm just like, which black one? V-neck or crew neck? That's almost the only decision I have to make. Sometimes I've left the house without underwear because I've had 2 or 3 different choices. I just said, forget it. You know, forget it. No,
it's too late.
Too hard.
Yeah.
But t-shirts, I'm limited.
You're listening to The Angry Designer, where we cut through the industry bull to help frustrated graphic designers survive and thrive.
What's up, Shawnee boy?
Hi, Moss.
Hey,
How are
Shawnee.
you? Oh.
Cheers. Wait, you've all been waiting to hear this for a little while.
Woo.
Yes. Woo. So today's nice Michener's bourbon. Thank you, Michener's.
Michener's,
for
very
allowing
nice.
us this great
Very
moment.
nice. Any kind of endorsements would be welcome.
Alcoholic ones. Bottles are fine. Just give us bottles. That's it. We're not looking for any money.
Cases, whatever.
Think about it. It gives us, you know, more liquid courage to cover topics that are really deep and boring.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and that will help the likes and all the reviews.
Right, because
like
everybody.
that.
That's right. All right.
Yeah.
So what are we here to talk about today, buddy?
I think we should talk about. This is not a sexy topic.
Fair enough.
Would you agree with me on
I
this one?
agree. It's not sexy, but it is damn important.
It is so important.
Which makes you a better designer.
Yep.
Which is a damn sexy thing. Okay. So indirectly, it's pretty fucking sexy.
Yeah, that's what we do. You know how we do what we do. We make it fun, and we give you tips along the way and stuff like that.
Rant shit.
These are things that we've kind of honed as we've gone along.
Yeah,
it works really well for Z Factor, right?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. All right. So we are here to talk about the most exciting topic of file management.
No, you need to get one of those.
The horn. It's a dull topic, but the thing is, people underestimate that, the better you get at this, the better your game is. Honestly, like so I was pretty fortunate. The first 10 years struggled with this whole topic, right? Tough. And again, it's and the world that we've, being in business for over 20 years, it's like it was so different 20 years ago than it was 10 than it is now. Yes. So we've had to keep evolving, but we've managed to carry along a lot of the same systems that have, once that system came in place at around year 7, 8, dude, you didn't have to think about it anymore. And that's why this shit's important, right? Like the kind of storage you got to do, do you use a DAM system or not? Digital asset management. Not a damn system.
Not a damn system.
But it's true. And I mean, and this stuff does make you better at what you do. It makes you perform better, right? Especially if you're in business. If you're just a hobby, who cares? Yeah. But we're talking about professional use.
Yes. If you're freelancing, different animal.
Maybe, depending on how many customers you have.
Exactly,
However, if you're freelancing for 10 years,
this is true.
These systems will help you rock at this, right?
Exactly.
I don't even want to say systems. That sounds so formal. But,
it does. Yeah.
But I think everybody does things a little differently, which is the scary thing, right? So it's like there's no right or wrong answer.
Right.
So what has worked for us should work for everybody in the fucking world. But if it doesn't, that's okay.
This is exactly
right. Like, because again, we're a little different. Yeah. We have high volume.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
But there's still lots that you can take away from this stuff. That's for sure.
And we have clients that span numerous years.
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely.
Going back to 2017 for some of these guys. So,
dude, one of our customers, we have over 3,000 jobs in our backlog. And the thing is, we can find almost anything we need to in all of those 3,000. As insane as that sounds.
Yeah.
It sounds boring.
Insane, yeah.
But it has helped us, and it's made us streamlined, and it's helped make us, we're a very efficient place.
Very much so.
I'd like to think so. That's what they talk to us about.
Certainly have to be with the kind of volume that we're going through. So, you don't want to spend half your time looking for pieces of this job and then spend, 10 minutes finishing it.
So true, right?
That's stupid.
And again, how frustrating is it when you're spending more time trying to find something for a project? And I mean, that's happened to me before. Occasionally it still happens. I think we're almost at about like a 95%, which is good.
Yes.
Considering our volume.
Yep.
It doesn't happen all the time, but man, you guys hear me grumble when it's like, who the hell named this final 3 _ ready _ print _ RGB? What the fuck? And that shit happens.
Totally. And it's usually, the hubris of in my personal experience, it's like, okay, this is pretty much the final. I know it's going to be the final. And as soon as I do that, I fucked myself.
Dude, it's a curse. It's a curse. Word of note, never, ever, under any circumstance, put those 5 letters, FINAL, on a file, okay? No matter, even if it's the version that goes to the printer, because it's going to come back and haunt you.
It will come back.
They'll be like, oh, by the way, there's something wrong with this file named final. Can you convert it?
Exactly. Oh, damn it.
I know, right? Like, it's like a curse, and I know everybody feels this.
Yes.
But it's true. Like, the efficiency of an organization really is based, and big or small. I mean, we've worked with big and small, and we've seen complete disorganization at the big.
Yep.
Right? And like streamline, like awesome on the small, right? So the question is, you got to get it from small to big. You have to actually make that shit scale.
Yep. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Difficult to do, but with these steps that we're going to lay out for you,
it's
pretty straightforward, I think.
Absolutely.
It's not rocket surgery or anything like that.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, the first thing we're going to do, okay, first and foremost, before we even talk about the boring stuff, okay, we're just going to quickly review the basically 3 different ways that you can, store files. Right?
Yeah.
Again, not overly exciting, and I'm sure you might even have heard some of these, if not already know them. But basically, there's 3 different ways, right? You've got external hard drives, right, or local storage.
Yep.
Then you've got local networks.
Yep.
And then you've got cloud, right?
The cloud, right.
Cloud, internet. Basically, think of it that way, right?
Yes.
So, and the funny thing is, whether you're big or small, I mean, there's companies of all kinds of, back in the old days, and they still have tapes, believe it or not. Organizations would do tapes.
Yes.
They would be on a network and they would do tapes. So again, these systems, these are the basic 3 breakdown of these, but there is so many different versions of this. There's hybrid systems that do local area and cloud backup, or local and tapes and cloud. So we're just talking the basic 3 because, most of the people that, we're dealing with are either freelancers or small agency owners.
Right.
And so, you know what? We're not talking about enterprise level stuff at this, but however, we can talk about how our customers handle their systems at enterprise. And it's not always great.
It's not always great. No.
So first off, external hard drives, external storage, right?
I miss my lacy hard drives. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's funny, right? It's so true. Okay, so I mean, you got all these brands, and basically, this is you're working on your computer, you're saving stuff on your computer, and you back it up on an external hard drive because it's like a backup, right? It's a second set of system, right? Now, and this goes back for God knows how long.
This is old.
Over the years. Okay, I guess you can say a long time ago, people would use floppy disks.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Over the years, we went to something called a zip drive, which was a floppy disk with 100 megabytes of storage. And that was big time.
That was huge,
and it was cool. To have to say, I'll just give you on my zip drive, right? It's like, what? It was an iOmega zip drive. Those were actually really cool. 100 megs. And they were durable and they were kind of cool.
And you could throw those against the wall. They wouldn't bust.
Yeah. And I mean, that kind of ended up going to these hard drives, and these hard drives just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the hard drives all vary from, your typical hard drive to even the solid state ones now, right? That are pretty intense, that's for sure. And I know that a lot of laptops have these. But I guess the idea here, of course, is to keep everything on your laptop and then make a backup, store a copy on an external drive, right? Which is good, hopefully, if you can remember.
Yeah.
So the good things about doing something like this, of course, is they're fast as hell.
Yeah.
Because the connection's right there.
It's right there.
Right?
Yep.
Easy to access anything you want because number one, if something's on your computer itself, your access is instant. Even if it's on a backup, you just got to plug it in and just find it. And so accessibility is great, right?
Yes.
And the nice thing about doing this is no matter where you are, as long as you have your laptop with you, you're never going to forget your stuff because it's always there.
This is always there, yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So there's a big convenience factor for doing this. And again, people are guilty, designers are guilty for saving shit on their desktop.
Yep.
Right? And even here in our environment, we'll have people, it's really quick to just kind of like save something on your desktop, drag it from the web, download it, put it in, right? As opposed to going through the whole rigmarole, right?
Creating the folder. And
But it does come back to bite you because then what happens, right?
Geez.
They store it, they set it up, and then when one of us has to go grab it, it's like, shit, stuff's missing. Where is it?
Yes.
Whose desktop is it on, right? So that's what I mean. It doesn't always happen. It's 95% of the time. But, what we do in these cases is we actually make them take their shoes off and run around the outside of the building in the middle of winter. And let me tell you, they don't actually forget too often after that, right? They come back.
I've ruined so many socks doing that.
You're lucky that you're allowed to wear socks, Sean. But the bads, of course, on this though, if you forget, like sometimes you only have one backup copy, right? So heaven forbid something happens to your computer.
Yeah.
If it's not up to date and that backup copy is not up to date, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a big bad, unfortunately, right?
And with thumb drives too, they've got a lot of storage space on some of those.
Same concept, right?
But they're easy to lose.
Yeah, they are. And keep in mind, they're a lot slower too.
And they're slower, yes.
Yeah, they are, right?
Yeah.
So where a lot of the external hard drives, I mean, they're plugging in at great speeds, right?
It's crazy.
But you're right. I've had thumb drives corrupt on me. Yes. I've had them go through the wash.
Oh,
damn it.
Yeah, that's not recommended. That's a last ditch, Or what did they call that? It was like it used to be. It was a sneaker net. Where you're going from one computer and you save your file onto somebody's or onto this thing, and then you give it to your buddy or your teammate. And sneaker net. You run it over to It was, but we used to do that in the old days. Yes. Oh my God!
I don't even want to know what you want to share in those old days, guys. We'll just leave that to the imagination, please.
Exactly.
Music.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So the other option that we talked about, so that's local storage. You can consider that local, not even, right? That's like your hard drives. That's hard drives, external hard drives. That's as close to your computer as you're going to get.
Yeah.
Depending on the size of the agency or, the size of your operation, then you have, a LAN, a local area network. Right. And what this is when basically everybody's connected to the same network, right? There's a server. Yep. That server, holds everything, stores everything, right? You hear this in all kinds of small businesses. This is where the idea of the tape drive comes in.
Right.
Now, these networks can get huge, right? You can get hundreds of people, thousands of people on these networks and organizations, right? Problem is, after a while, okay, wait. Well, let's not even worry about the problem. Needless to say, in theory, the local area network's great.
Yes.
And it works for some people. Hey, we've got 2 doors down from us, we've got another agency who specializes in local stuff, and they do have a local area network.
Oh.
Right? They absolutely do. So it does work, right?
Yeah.
The advantage is, of course, everybody's networked to one another, so it's easy to share between each other, right? Speed, it is fast, right? Because you don't really, in theory, need the internet for this because you're networked to one another, right? You just need to have power to those damn things.
Yeah.
See, because a local area network, it's not reliant on the internet per se, right? And then revision control is generally pretty good because there's software involved that actually helps us, right? The bads to this, of course, right? Number one, it's expensive as fuck, right? Yes. It is because you need to pay for the setup, pay for the equipment, the switches, the routers, the servers, right? Which you still want to back up, right?
Yeah.
So it's expensive. Then they're not easy to manage.
Yes.
You need a professional, like IT companies. That's all they do. They specialize in that.
That sounds expensive,
dude. It is expensive, and it's like anytime there's a problem, it's like, who are you going to call?
Yeah.
Right. Ghostbusters are not helping you in this situation, right? No, but I mean, seriously, I've seen this and it's just such a pain. And then there's the security risk.
Right.
Because often if you want to work from home, you have to somehow log into your network. So generally that's going to be firewalled and that's not easy to access. Often they'll have to, clear your IP address. But what if you're on the holidays or you go to a cottage or something like that? It's just a nightmare in my opinion, right?
Yeah. Very, very problematic.
You got wires everywhere. Oh,
No,
dude, it's just like a nightmare,
and
right?
space, right? This would take up a lot of
Yeah,
space
you do.
in your.
Most places have a server room. They have a server room or
exactly.
a server closet just for this.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. So unfortunately, that's another option. Works for some, maybe not for others, right? If you're just a small organization, you definitely don't have to worry about this. However, I must say I have met a couple of freelancers that have created their own local area networks inside their homes. They have external hard drives, external servers, and this way it's kind of. I'm not sure why, but maybe, maybe it's an interest, a hobby. I don't know. There's some benefits on this one for sure.
Yeah.
This is something that was way over my head growing up, and I did everything in my power to avoid this. To the point, even when we were starting, we used to just run around zip drives to every computer. I'm working on this. Okay, here it is. And dude, we had like a whole 20, 30 zip drives. Then we went from zip drives to CD-ROMs.
Yeah,
and that was when shit got real.
Yeah, then it was like
now from 100 megabytes, you got 600 of them, right? On this. Needless to say, local area networks is a second option, right?
Yeah.
And then nowadays we've got the cloud. Right? The cloud. Everybody hears about the cloud. And we're so used to this. And in theory, the cloud sounds great, but it's not always, what it's chalked up to be.
Yes.
Right? Like the nice things about the cloud, you got backup logs, easy for history.
Yep.
You can access this shit anywhere where you've got an internet connection, which is nice, right? With the
that's
right
very
securities.
nice.
Follows you everywhere, right?
Yep.
And sharing with internally or even with customers is so flippin' easy.
Yes, that's really, really nice. Very handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bads, unfortunately, you need the internet to access anything.
Yes.
Granted, some stuff will sync it on your desktop, and then when you get to internet, it'll actually transfer it over. But the problem there, of course, is you have to actually get that piece of software. So you can create something and let it sync.
Yeah.
But if you need to actually access something, you're kind of SOL unless if you don't have, right?
Unless you were working on it on your desktop at the time of whatever the internet outage. Yes,
absolutely.
Then you're pretty
so
much boned.
it is challenging because not everybody has equal access to the internet, and this is something that so many people take for granted.
Yes,
absolutely.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Again, it's you wouldn't believe how many people don't have internet, or they have slow internet access because your internet access. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your files are dependent 100% on your speed.
Yeah.
And some of the files that we deal with are in the gigs.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah.
Can you imagine?
I know. Like that would take a fucking day.
Dude, it really
some
would.
of these files.
Yeah, no. So you kind of want to avoid that kind of stuff,
Yes.
right? So, and of course, the more you save on these, of course, then it is going to be more costly as well, right? Yeah. You're always going to, where if you have a local drive, you buy it, you have it, usually you can buy them in 2, 3, 4 terabytes. Man, that shit's going to last you for years.
Yeah. God,
right?
Yeah.
So it's like where in cloud, you're always going to get upgraded. And then there's also the whole idea about, getting hacked.
Yep.
Right? Which is a huge scare, huge fear, right?
Yes.
Or even having ransomware come on there where they hold your system and they demand money.
Yes.
Like, I mean, that shit's real. It happens.
Yeah.
I know people that it's happened to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's a scary thing, that's for sure. So, I mean, the most popular cloud, servers that everybody knows about. Everybody hears Dropbox. Right?
Yep.
That's a big one.
Yep.
That's popular, and Dropbox has some really cool features from like history to that smart syncing feature.
Smart sync
right?
is awesome.
And,
yep.
and the nice thing about Dropbox is it offers a free version.
Yep.
Right? That usually gives people a ton of space to do a ton of stuff on, right?
Yep. Yep.
But there are other systems.
Yes.
Like Google has a ton, right?
Yep.
Google's got Google Drive.
Yep, Google Drive.
However, I think it sucks.
Yeah, it's not very good.
It's not, right? Like it gives you a ton of free space.
Yes.
But man, like they don't make it easy to find stuff, right?
No, it's
like,
certainly not.
For a company that stresses on everything's about user experience and get your web pages faster, so we'll reward you and do this and user experience that, like this is a really shitty system.
It really is. And I have to think that they're probably got somebody out there working on fixing this.
I don't know, dude, because it's been like this for years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's cool that it's big. And today, actually, the first time was actually pretty quick for me. First time in a long time. I downloaded something.
Yeah.
Somebody sent it. But like, I mean, we have some stuff on Google Drive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
I mean, we do. Nothing, no jobs wise. But man, try to sort that shit out. It's
Yeah.
impossible. It's
Yeah.
not very intuitive, easy to find.
Yes.
You think it would be considering it's Google.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of disappointed.
And I don't know, maybe because everything I have is just all blah, 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 just plopped on in the window. You know what I mean? Like there's no, I haven't figured out a way to file stuff.
You think that there would be something a little bit more intuitive, a little bit more, graphic user, a better graphic user interface.
Yes, exactly.
That makes things a little bit more visual.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't. I feel like it lacks right there. So I wouldn't recommend that cloud option.
It totally does.
Box is another one that it seems like some of our enterprise customers use.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think it's designed for that, isn't it?
Is it? Like I said, I think that's the strength for Box, of course, is that it's a little bit bigger. And I know that the privacy, it's got a lot more tiers of privacy, which really helps.
Yeah.
It's so secure, it's collaborative, which most of them are. But I mean, again, I haven't had the few times I've tried to get into Box.
I didn't like it. I wasn't a big fan.
It wasn't as easy as I was hoping it would be, right? Okay, OneDrive, I'm not a Microsoft person.
Nope.
And so the problems that I get with that, when customers try to send me something on OneDrive, speaks wonders of the horrible experience. So if somebody out there has good experience with OneDrive, please tell us.
Yes, let us know.
I'm trying to figure this shit out.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
iCloud for Apple is another option.
Yes.
But can you actually use that, like in this kind of environment? Like, can you?
I don't know whether you can or not. Like that just
I know you can for photos and for personal stuff.
I think it's a very personal kind of style. Yeah.
But it is still cloud. It's still saving stuff to the cloud.
Yeah. So I would assume that you could save whatever the hell you want. If you wanted to save a document or like a Photoshop file that you're working on or something like that, I imagine you could probably do that, right? It seems kind of weird, but
yeah, I know it does seem a little bit weird.
I would, Apple seems more of the fun kind of side of things.
Right.
Your interesting things.
In line with, iCloud is also Creative Cloud. They're offering cloud services as well, which is kind of, I don't know if I would trust Adobe with that.
It's interesting. I've used it a couple of times and it's very interesting because you can, you send a link to somebody or somebody send you a link to the files.
Yeah.
You correct those files, save it, and then that person has got those. It's kind of cool. There's no file folders, but the problem with that is you don't have a copy of that in your files, so you can later on grab it.
So you're almost limited to keeping it all there, right?
I think so. Yeah, it just seems like you either want to have it on your own in some sort of format that you know what I mean, that you
works for you.
Yes, that works for you. Or I think that's a big collaborative kind of idea.
For collaboration, I think that's key.
Perfect for
that. But I don't think for long-term storage, asset management, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that.
Yes.
There's, pCloud, of course, is very secure, enhanced privacy settings.
Yep.
And Sync is really, really, really secure.
It is.
A lot of the people that I know, a lot of the network professionals that I know, they are always recommending Sync.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. But it's not the issues why we're not on Sync is because it wasn't intuitive enough when we tried it. We were trying to transfer over a big chunk of files to it, and it wasn't intuitive. It was corrupting all the files because the naming nomenclature was different. But that's a hell of a word, eh?
Nomenclature.
Needless to say, I heard it's a good system, and the support was trying as hard as they could to help.
Yeah.
But when you've got already 10, 15, 20 years worth of backups done a certain way, it's challenging to move that forward.
Yeah. Are they a small company, or is it like a new?
I think it was newer. I think when we tried it a few years back, they were only in the business second year or something like that. Yeah, so newer.
Maybe, possibly,
kind of like fix their game. At the time, I felt it was more for a PC user, not a Mac user. And then the mindset, the way we use things. That's how I felt. I could be wrong.
Okay,
but even the support when they were helping, they're like, you did this on a Mac. Yeah, I get it. And so there was some issues. So
fair enough. Yeah. No, I guess.
So there was some challenges, but now for what we use.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So, with all these awesome, we've got a studio, we've got several employees, we've got the space, we need fast file transfer. We're working on giant systems. I think most people will be surprised to know that we're actually on Dropbox.
Yay, Dropbox.
So we seriously, and this was crazy. So reason being, so years ago, we had a LAN, we had a local area network. We had this set up. The hard drive actually corrupt. We lost a ton of shit. Okay, we went to the backup. The backup was deprecated. It was literally when we needed stuff, it wasn't there.
So the backup was fucked up.
Yeah. So it was some sort of mess up. We had a hardware failure, and then we had a second kind of hardware failure, which freaked me the hell out.
So close.
So we went from that to CD-ROMs, right? So we were constantly burning CD-ROMs, right?
Yep.
And we were going crazy. And then all of a sudden we started having hundreds of these, right? Which was insane. CD-ROMs were great. It was easy to access.
Yeah, it was always in one spot.
One spot, but you had to find which disc it was.
Look through the discs,
right?
yes.
The nice thing is they wouldn't corrupt.
Yeah,
right.
true.
Once it's burned on there, it wouldn't corrupt. But at the same time, then it became like crazy version control because you'd create a project last year, all of a sudden, client had revisions this year, so now you got a second version. So we then needed a better option.
Yes,
and I was either forced to go back to a local area network, maybe a hybrid, or the cloud. And I remember Dropbox was something new I was hearing. And I'm like, dude, this is the future, right? Let's start using this the way it's meant to be, right?
Yeah.
And at this point, we already had our organizational system in place. We had our structure. We knew what our naming was going to be, our naming nomenclature, our file. So it was an easy transition for us to do it.
Right.
Okay. So now we're in an office. Okay. We're networked in the sense that there is a whole network here, but we don't use it. Right?
Oh.
Right? Have you ever actually pulled anything off the network?
No.
Not at all. You're using the network to just get the internet.
Yeah.
We have great speed here. We have fiber internet here. So we're getting pretty decent speed.
Yep.
But not nearly as good as some people out there because we're only getting a consistent 50 Mbps. Right? So we're getting we have clients who are delivering, a gigabit of internet speed. We've only got 50, but because it's 50 up, 50 down, it's symmetrical, right? It's more than enough for us to get what we need to when we need to. Okay.
Cool.
So in our office of, almost 3,000 square feet, half the people actually use Wi-Fi to connect to Dropbox.
Yeah.
And then the other half plug in and get speed directly. Right.
Yeah.
And we have it set up in such a way, and we've got our naming methods that we can easily search anything we want on Dropbox. We can find what we need to.
Yeah.
We can view stuff because it has that smart sync option where, you can see the little thumbnail of the image you're looking for, right? It picks up there. So it's an amazing system.
Yes.
Right. But the reason why we've made it work is because we've been organized with the rest of our system. Otherwise, we would be looking at like a DAM, right? A digital asset management. And man, once you get into that shit's expensive.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It makes it easier to find stuff, but you can completely avoid going down that road if you actually have a system in place, which we do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the key with Dropbox, and I mean, everybody always scares you with security. Okay, is you need to make sure that you have a Loctite password.
Right.
And that's the thing, not this password 123 or not, my kitty Fred, like you have to actually step your game up, right? And for us, we stepped it up and we actually got one password, which is a password protection system. Right. And that's where all of our stuff's in there. Right. And that makes that Dropbox password pretty damn big. I mean, I think it's like 32 characters long.
It's insane.
Uppercase, lowercase. But I mean, again, heaven forbid something happens to one password. We're screwed.
Then we're done.
Then we're done.
Oh my God.
But the reality is, if you have a Loctite password and you don't share that password, and we don't, because
we certainly don't.
You only access it through one, but you don't even know what the password is.
I have no idea what it is. It's just it's just a 32 lines of dots.
Right. And to top it off, Dropbox also has this, you'd think that we were sponsored by them or something with it. But honestly, it has worked so fucking well for us.
I totally agree. Considering working on Box when we did that, I did not like that.
No.
I thought that was very confusing. And Dropbox, it's not perfect.
Of course not.
I wish, because some of these dams that I've seen,
they're pretty cool.
They're really good. They got the tags, like so you could tag stuff. It's like, I don't know whether does Dropbox do that?
I believe it does. It's just we don't use it. Yeah,
or Dropbox.
Yeah,
does.
I believe it does. Oh, dude, there's so much more.
I have to look into that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's so much more. But on a good note, it searches, and as long as when we keep our naming in order, we're totally safe.
That's the key.
That's the key, right?
Yeah.
And that's how it's worked for us so well.
Yes.
Don't forget, it also has this two-factor authentication. Sorry, I go back to security. So anytime anybody logs in new that it doesn't recognize, it sends me a message saying, hey, are you going to let this person, and if you are, give them this code. Otherwise, they don't get in.
Yeah, you don't get in. Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, it's scary as hell to think that like our whole business is on the cloud, but at the same time, it has made us so efficient, easy to access everything that we need to, right? Like, I mean, I think it's just, I mean, to me, I don't know, and I've recommended it to our neighbors because again, they were on a local area network, and she was struggling with password issues and authentication because during lockdown, COVID lockdown, they were having issues with people working from home, not being able to access everything else. Dude, how much did we have to prepare for when this happened?
it was seamless.
It really was, right? So again, that's the challenge, and that's I think huge in this game. People have to remember, what's it going to take to actually get to that space? And for us, it was nothing.
Yeah.
So it works. But it definitely works. It works even better for us because we have a pretty damn good system
because
in
of the system in place.
Right?
Yes.
So that's the second part of this podcast.
Yep.
Right? We're going to talk about the system that we use, our ideas, our methodology, our naming, blah, 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 right? I know it's not very exciting. This is the second half that's not very exciting. But there is some sexy parts about being like this.
Yeah.
All right? Think of it this way, okay? The sexy part about having a cool organizational system is you are going to be efficient as hell. Right? That's pretty sexy.
What designer doesn't want that?
But think about it. Like once you have a system in place and you know where everything is, you don't spend any unnecessary time looking for that shit.
Yes.
And you know how, like that's like, sadly, most of my t-shirts are black. But I don't have to stress in the morning, like, what t-shirt am I going to wear? I'm just like, which black one? V-neck or crew neck? That's almost the only decision I have to make. Sometimes I've left the house without underwear because I've had 2 or 3 different choices. I just said, forget it. Forget it. No,
it's too late.
Too hard.
Yeah.
But t-shirts, I'm limited. No, but true. It does. When it's efficient, it's like a, set it and forget it type mentality.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's key, right? People underestimate, like the value in that. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Number 2, there's no question it's going to make you a better designer. And I know people are like, how the hell is a system like this going to make you a better designer? But the truth of the matter is every time you are, taken away from a creative project because you have to start looking for something.
You're searching for something.
And you're searching. And all of a sudden, something that you should have been able to go grab to complete this, what you're working on right now, has taken you 10, 20, 15, 100 minutes, whatever the hell you want to go.
Yep.
It's frustrating as hell.
It is.
It takes your mind off of the creativity, puts it in a new mindset, and your creativity suffers, right? You're restarting that project. You might as well give up. Like at that point and just start again fresh the next day or something.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's true. I mean, in that sense, so that's sexy. Okay, so that's a sexy thing about organized file management.
That's really sexy. Yes, I agree.
Okay, but this part is actually kind of sexy. It makes you look more professional and badass to your customers.
This is exactly it.
Right? Because, like seriously, like, I mean, we know what it's like when you share stuff or you get stuff and it's just like, it's a mess and you're sorting through it, or they ask you for a file and it takes you 2 weeks to get it back to them.
Yep.
Like, it's really frustrating for them because they need it for something. They needed it yesterday, and it takes you another week to find it. You're aggravated. They're aggravated.
Yep.
Dude, like how awesome is it when somebody like asks us?
Yeah.
Can you send me this version of this logo? I don't have it handy.
Yeah.
I'm at the cottage, but I need this. Can you hook me up? Dude, how fast does it take us to get there?
Exactly. And that's the thing. Just today, somebody was asking for like a piece from a website that we created. It's like, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
But because of our fucking awesome naming system, I can worm my way back to where that lived,
where it came from,
and exactly, and I know exactly where it's going to live within this. Yeah.
So you didn't create it.
I didn't create it, but I can
knew
find
where to find it.
Exactly.
So, and I mean, good luck, damn.
Yeah.
Damn's got nothing on this.
That's right. That's right.
It's true.
But yeah, this is a simple way of doing things.
Absolutely.
To help alleviate that kind of crap that you're searching for stuff. And I did this and it didn't even skip a beat. I'm still working on another project. Found this.
Send it back.
Like
clients
hands,
multi-hand guy.
Yeah, exactly. Easy peasy, baby.
So time management, obviously it took you a second to do. So your time management goes through the roof.
Yep. Big time. Big time.
And you know what the coolest part about having an organization system like this? You get mad respect from other designers.
Ooh.
Think about it. How many times when you start getting to this, you're organizing layers, you're organizing files, and then you have to share it with somebody else. Yep. And even though you may never, ever meet that person, they're going to be like, oh yeah, we got to get this shit from Z Factor. It's another agency. And it's named. It's like dummy proof. The layers in Photoshop are named properly. Dude, that's mad respect.
That is.
They can't ever... come back and be like, those guys are no, they got game, yo.
How many times have we heard that, game. Right? There's
Seriously.
Clients going, God damn, your Photoshop files are beautiful.
Right?
It's
and somebody one of our customers actually hit me up last week and he's like, I'm usually embarrassed to share my Photoshop files to designers because they're really bad. Nothing's layered. Everything's layered. Nothing's named properly. And it's like, don't worry, we won't judge. But secretly we do.
Secretly we do, exactly. But we're all we're cocksure. Yeah. Oh yeah. You want our Photoshop file? Oh, fuck yeah. Here you go. And it's like, whoa.
It's so true, dude.
Yeah, I have no problem sharing any Photoshop files that we've created here because they are gorgeous. But yeah, and that goes exactly the same way. We naming our file naming
absolutely right,
and all this is absolutely perfect.
The fact that we're so proud about Photoshop layer docs and stuff, we're real nerds, eh? Designed cool nerds, but it's just like, wow, we got really proud by sharing that. It's just wow.
I know, right?
That's
and
okay.
some people are probably sitting there going, "What the fuck?
Yeah,
who cares?
What are these guys talking about?"
But trust me, somebody else is going to look at this stuff. They will care.
Yeah. Right. All right. So those are the reasons why you need to get this shit, and that's what makes you badass, in my opinion. Anyway. So let's talk a little bit about our structure, and then we can wrap this shit up. Yeah. This is a nice, easy one, right?
Yeah, easy peasy.
So we always break it up. You get into our file system, and it always starts off with the company, which is the name folder, right?
Yep.
And it's either corporate or customers. Okay.
Yeah.
So freelancers, small agencies, corporate folder holds everything, and we won't get into detail about this one, but this is where you have your invoices, you have your statement of works or contracts, NDAs, right? Your legal.
Yeah.
This is where you have your own branded material, right?
Right.
This is all under corporate. It's not sexy, and you can make it sexy inside there, but I mean, corporate, you just put all that stuff completely in a separate area because that has to do with the company.
Yeah.
And I mean, our corporate, and to top it off, in this, nothing personal, Sean, but nobody else has access to the corporate
I was just going to say,
except who needs it.
This when I was putting this together, I was like, I didn't even know there was a corporate folder.
I know, right? Very few have seen it,
but that's great. Yeah,
but it's true. And
that's a perfect, because this is also part of this this whole
right. Everything's in the cloud, and the corporate. That's completely. That's on an as needed basis. And to be honest, you don't even really need anything.
I don't
in
need
there,
to be
right.
In there.
So
no, I certainly don't.
Nothing personal, but I don't think that's just going to make you excited because you're not really helping with that kind of stuff, right?
I'm going to assume though that it's organized because you did it,
dude. It is numbered and organized. And smiley faces.
I've not seen this, everybody, but I know it's probably organized as fuck.
But then you've got the second, of course, which is the customers folder, right? And this has everything for every single one of your customers. First, in this mega high level folder, customers. So again, you get in there. If you're an owner or a freelancer, you got corporate, you got customers. Done.
Yeah.
Okay. In that customers, that's basically has everything broken down by your customers, right? It has their jobs in there. It has their brand material in there. You can even put in some of their competitor information in that folder, right? Yes. So, and again, if you think of some of ours, I mean, some of those are pretty big, right? And they're pretty layered, of course, right? But we do. In there, you've got your customers folders, and that breaks down everything for your customers.
Yes.
And this is where shit gets real for us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Because again, we have, if you look in our folder, we've got like 100 plus customers in there.
Yep.
And you can find everything you need to find for them.
Yep.
So on a good note, if you have Dropbox, you can turn on and off the customers that are active.
Yes.
Which is important because, sometimes you get customers you only deal with once or twice a year.
Yes.
You don't delete them.
Yeah.
You just get rid of them so they're not active.
Yeah.
Right? So it doesn't act like it's on your desktop.
Yes.
So now we start off with all of our customers' high level folders.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a hierarchy in the sense of folder and then not a hierarchy, nested folders. They're all nested folders.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously once you open up your customers folder, you see a list of all your customers, in our case, in alphabetical order. Right? It's easy. It's logical. Don't even worry about it. You can find shortcuts to those customers after the fact on your computer, create aliases and such. But in this case, we just list all of them in there. Right? There's like no rocket science here, right?
Easy peasy.
All right. So then the next is when we generally have 2 subfolders inside of every customer. Right? So we always start off with the brand folder, okay, asterisk brand. And then from there, we have every customer project folder underneath there. Okay. And before we get too much in depth here, it's really important to kind of understand the naming convention we use for these. Because I think that's what has saved us all these years for everything. Right. So first off, the job folders underneath are often customized for the jobs themselves. So video jobs have different kind of subfolder systems, right? Graphic jobs do, web jobs definitely do, right? So they have a different file system underneath. So that we're not going to worry about too much. They follow a similar flow, but you know, most importantly, we have to remember what the naming convention is that we use that has worked for us all these years. Right? So obviously we always start off first letters. The first 3 letters
of the client
is like an abbreviation of the client, right? So whether it's ABC or for Z Factor, it's ZFA. If it's, you know, Cisco, it's CIS. So the customer's, you know, first 3 letters or an abbreviation of the customer's name is always how we start, you know, every single project, right? Then it's dash. And then it's the job number. Okay. This is how we are able to keep not just hundreds, but thousands of projects organized on an annual basis. Last year, we had one customer with 972, 72 individual projects. And almost we kept all that, I know, in 1 year, right? But again, and so we've never had to break that. I don't know what's I've never seen a 1000 job. But so we always start off with CIS dash and then the job number. And the reason why we always do the job numbers in 3 digits, is because if you use, you know, 1 or 2 digits, when you start getting into the doubles, the teens and stuff, then it completely messes up the order, right? So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But as soon as you go 11, then it bounces up and shows up after the number 1. Right. And then it goes 1, 1, 1, and then 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1. So it completely messes up. So it totally does. So we always do this out of 100. So 001, 002, and then we work our way that way. Okay. So make every single one of your projects 3 digits. Oh, sorry, starting at 100.
Starting at 100.
101.
Would be your first, or 100 would be first job.
And then 101, 102, 10. That works, right? Then so okay, we're safe. So first 3 digits are the customer, second 3 digits are the job number. Okay. Then we write down the type of job it is. So we have a small short list.
Also in abbreviation.
Oh, absolutely. Right.
Keep it short.
3 digits. So if it's a graphic design project of any sort, it's GRA. If it's something brand related, it's BRD. Right? If it's PowerPoint, which we sadly get a lot of.
We get a lot of those,
But again, PPT. Right? So we have web, of course, WEB, you know, video, VID. But again, these abbreviations help you when you have to search for stuff and narrow the list down, you know, across this network. Doing this will help you find what you need without having to actually go to a DAM. Right?
Exactly.
So then we've got that. Right. Then we end up to the next, which is the title of the project, which we actually then try to keep 3-4 words if possible. Right. Keywords. Right.
Something inside of the heading, or if it's, you know, like a, I don't know, some kind of ad or something like that. If you know, you're looking for, because a lot of times the clients will send, hey, we did this last year for you guys. We got new artwork we want to update. So you want to kind of pull all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So you can search for whatever the title is.
Exactly,
kind of
right?
So
now, and the funny thing is, so one weird wonky thing that we've learned works for us in this system, if we have to transfer, right, is we use underscores in between each one of the abbreviations. Okay. And dashes in between like the sentences or the words. So in this case, if it's a job number, right, the name of the project, which is like, you know, NISC dash trade show dash booth dash graphics. Right. Those are dashes. And then it goes underscore. Right. So underscore. So a job number for us works something like this in this case. So it's, the customer, CIS dash 105. Then we go underscore job type. So in this case, we'll say TRD for trade show. Underscore. Then we have the name of the project. Which is trade show dash booth dash graphic dash 2002 or 2022. Holy wow, I'm 20 years behind. Right? Totally true. And that's what works for us in that case, right? Because then it allows us to find that folder. You're just looking at it. You have exactly an idea of, the folder, the number, how far it is in the chain and what it is.
It's got a trade show booth or TRD on there. So we know
says right there,
exactly because that's what the outline of the job is trade show booth. Then, I need to know where the other trade show booths
Absolutely.
live, right?
So the only other messy part is sometimes after that part, we might have the month and year.
Yes.
Depending on if it's something a little bit more regular.
And if there was a lot of versions of it.
Right.
Too.
Well, that goes within,
going back and forth.
That goes, year after year. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. So that's how we do our subfolders. And again, it sounds tricky, but by doing it this way, we've developed a system that allows us to search our Dropbox for anything that we need to. And that's key on this one, right?
Big time.
And it has prevented that between that and then what Dropbox allows you to do. We're able to find everything we need like really quickly.
Dropbox is pretty awesome.
It is really cool. It is really cool.
Yeah, we certainly haven't had any kind of difficulty with it at all.
No, not at all. And the searching function, when you know what to search, for, and that's the key. Consistency is key. When you know what it is you have to search for, it's super easy.
Yes.
Right?
And now I'm a little old school, and I don't know what everybody else is like, where you're like, I like the Finder option still. I'm not a big fan of the online style, like looking through the... Do you know what I mean?
And that's why Dropbox is great. You can use the Apple Finder, right? You don't have to log into a browser.
This is the beautiful part of this, right?
Great. So great.
So it's like old school guys like me. I still love my Finder. I love going through there.
So great. It's so great.
Yeah, but I think for the most part, the kids use the online version here.
Yeah, I think so. A little bit, right? Yeah. Some of them, until they figure out this Finder version, and then it changes their life. It really does. So now, that's our naming for all the client folders, right? All the project folders for the customer. That's our naming convention.
Outside folder.
The outside folder, right?
Yeah.
Inside, we're going to just quickly touch on that one, right? But I mean, the idea, of course, is that, they're all on, like the project folders are all named exactly the same.
Yes.
It's just the folder breakdown internally might cater a little bit differently, based on the project.
Yeah.
Right? So all of our subfolders start off with, first and foremost, a README folder. Okay. So there's a subfolder inside of here called README. Yeah. This is where we put job description. This is where we put anything that we can think of on the job. This is an email that we want to share that we had with the customer. Anything that can just help outline what the customer ask is goes in the README file.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Do I need to say anything more about that?
That's pretty
it's like old school Mac, right? The readme.txt file, right?
Exactly.
That's where it came from.
Exactly.
Number two, collateral. We have a second folder here called collateral. This is anything that the client gave us that we need to complete the job.
Yep.
Okay. So this isn't working folder stuff, but this is like, oh, hey, we have all these images from a photo shoot. Collateral.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got these docs that have to go there. Collateral. Hey, here's a PowerPoint that can help you with this. Collateral. All this shit goes in the collateral. So when you have to find anything for this job that the client has given you, you go to the collateral folder.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's a great spot. You leave everything in there.
Yep.
You don't fuck with it. You don't save over top of anything like that. So you always got a client's reference to hold off in case you need it. Yeah.
The client collateral folder. We've shortened to collateral, but you're right. It's
but
the client
that's what
collateral
it is, basically.
folder.
Yeah. You just like, do not touch anything. That's just stuff to draw from. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, from here down is where things change. Right?
Yes.
So in this case, if this is a graphics job, we have a working folder, right? And this is where you have all your versions of InDesign, PowerPoint, whatever it is you have in this working folder.
Yeah.
Within that working folder, you might have a separate images folder that contains both raw and, Photoshopped and everything, right? But this is where you have all your versions of what you're working on.
Yes.
That is live, current working shit in that folder.
That's right. With the job title name that it's
100%.
that the top folder was.
Right. And that's key,
Yeah.
right? Everything stays named the same.
Yes.
Right? You
Yes.
always starts the exact same way. And it sounds like a pain in the ass, guys, but it takes nothing once you're used to this,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Job, the number, what it is, and then in that description, Photoshop layer file of the, or not even Photoshop, but like, add
whatever it is.
design one, B, C, or this, or that. Everything still keeps that naming system going.
Yes.
So that all lives in your working folder, and that includes all the different versions that you are working on.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. Yep.
Then we've got a proofs folder. So when you finish something in working, you drop a copy of it in proofs, but not the layered, not the working.
Nope.
This is what you share with the customer.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And again, trust me, keep that naming convention when you share it with the customer.
Exactly.
Again, how many times, how many times has this saved us when we're looking for a job for a customer, we're looking for a previous email. We're like, shit, it was for a job, right?
Yeah.
You type in that job number sent to Scott or Jim or Bob, right?
Yep.
And the list of all your conversations of that project starts because you started the email subject line with that job number.
With that job number,
And
exactly.
literally, all it is the job number in that case, just the CIS-105.
Yeah.
And then semicolon, and here's your question
away
or
you
your
go.
subject
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
The customers appreciate it,
Yep.
and it helps us so much in this case,
Oh,
right?
does it ever.
So, and
Oh my
again,
God.
proofs, right? Like the proofs are that way, right? Like the job number, proof number 1, and then the date in that case, right? All underscored with dashes in between. Like, again, it just keeps everything organized in that case, right?
Yeah.
So we got the proofs. Revision requests
a
are
good
in
one
there.
too, yeah. I
Yeah.
like that one.
So revision request is underneath proofs. So again, this happens a lot. You get a customer, you give them a proof, they give you revisions.
Yeah.
You drop the revisions in revision request.
Yep.
You don't work on it in there,
Nope.
but this just keeps a copy somewhere of the. Now, this could be an email. This could be a Word doc. This could be a marked up PowerPoint or a PDF or PowerPoint, whatever,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Keep a copy of every single one. And let me tell you why. There's been so many times when customers forget what kind of proofs that they give you or what kind of revisions they give you, and they will correct themselves and overwrite and contradict themselves. If you don't keep a record of that shit, right? Like, again, our business is a big cover your ass business. If you don't keep a record of that, they can easily say, dude, like, I told you to do that. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
Here's your email. You clearly said do this.
Yeah.
You clearly said do that.
Yeah.
Anything revisions, regarding revisions, always keep a copy in this folder. Even if it's an email, just PDF that email, throw it in there.
Yep. Drop it in there. It's always good to draw from that. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Totally.
right?
Yep.
And then last but not least, final. Wow, what can we say about final?
Yeah, exactly. This is a funny one, but it's very important.
You need the final
You
folder,
need the
right?
final
You do need
folder.
it, and not often for what you're going to present to the customer, sadly, but you do in the sense because once they've approved proof number 6, then you drop your final, right?
Yeah.
Again, you don't put the words final on it because that's horrible.
No, don't ever
but
do that.
You put that date.
Yeah.
And if it's print ready, you put print ready. If it's slide ready, right? You actually list what it is. Date is the key on that one, right? You make sure you put down that date, and there it is. Because how many times it'll be like, oh shit, after it's final. Oh, we just caught one more thing. It happens all the time. Never use those words.
And generally, when you find something in the final folder, you know that was the one that was used in whatever. So it's always perfect. So if you go into the working folder and there's 4 or 5 variations in there, or versions, I should say, and then you go into the final folder, that was the one that
Absolutely.
they used.
So, I mean, some of our subfolders, vary. Like if it's a web folder, we've got a different format. We always have the README, we always have the collateral. But in this case, we may have sitemap, wireframes, creative, and then, revision proofs. They'll also, our video one is
Video
very
has
different,
a different
right?
one,
Completely different one.
Yeah.
So they all vary a little bit.
Yeah.
But ideally, the principle's the same.
Yeah.
They always start with README. They always, continue on with collateral, of course, what you collect. It's what's in between that seems to just kind of evolve from project to project.
Exactly.
But this system has worked for us for so long, dude.
This is absolutely perfect. And you combine this with Dropbox.
Yeah.
And we don't really need necessarily a dam.
No.
So you could save cash on that.
Oh my God, because those are expensive.
Big
Dude,
time.
they're
I
really
know.
expensive.
They're-
but with the
yeah.
right naming system, you don't need a dam. Absolutely.
It kind of works. We've kind of hacked the system
Oh,
here.
dude, we totally hacked the system. Hack the system there. Hack the system with Dropbox.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
it's all good.
Yeah. This is a really great, effective system that we've used. And this is, when did this come out? When did we start using this? 2000.
Oh, dude, no, okay. So this has been years in the works.
It has, okay.
This has been even before we lost everything, like from our email system.
Okay.
Oh my God,
So
when we
this has
lost
been-
those emails, that was one of the reasons why we went to a cloud-based system. Because again, we used to have a local system. We were using Outlook.
Yeah.
Crashed 3 years worth of emails. And that's where we kept everything, like contracts and this. Dude, we got so screwed over. That's when it was just like, no, everything is going to the cloud. I'm betting everything on the cloud. Thank God I did.
Thank God you did.
Jeez. So again, remember some things to remember always. Okay, things to note, which are really important. Save every single change as a separate file.
Yep.
And I don't mean like, oh, here's change number 1, save it. Here's change number 2. I mean, let's be honest. Revision change, something big. Customer, sends in an email. Here's a change. Save it as a separate file because you know what? You never, ever, ever delete or overwrite an old version of something because then all this. I know, right? What happens if they're like, oh shit, I don't like this. Let's go back to what you just did.
Yeah.
And you don't have it
And
saved.
you're boned.
That's a huge rookie mistake, dude. Huge rookie mistake.
Big time.
Right? Always use dates. Type in dates. Don't rely on the system date because often you'll be like, oh yeah, the system date. I can just like do a get info and it'll tell me the date it was created.
Exactly.
Dude, that is never
That's
accurate.
dicey.
It is so because it throws when it's open, modified date. No.
Yeah.
Always type in a date. Always.
Yeah.
And never, ever, ever name anything final. Guys, you are forbidden to name anything final.
Just don't bring that kind of hurt down on you.
Yeah, right. The second you name something final, be prepared to have a final B, a final C. A final C, damn, I thought this was done. A final C, damn, I thought this was done. FML, kill me. Like, it's true. It's
so true.
dude, it's a
my
curse,
God.
right?
Yes. Bad news.
Always use lowercase letters in file naming systems. Okay. This would have prevented that whole when we wanted to move over to sync at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Always go lowercase. Make it a just good rule of thumb if you have to.
Yeah.
And always use underscores instead of spaces.
Yeah.
Always in between like all the projects if you can, right?
Never any spaces.
The key is, underscore or dashes.
Yeah.
Just don't ever leave a blank space, right? Because blank spaces are replaced with code if you upload it to a cloud system often, right? And that's, again, what happened with sync. So unfortunately, it started putting all these characters. Then there goes our search system. That's why we couldn't use it because now we couldn't find anything because all of a sudden it was like adding in extra characters to fill the blank
So
spaces.
put like an ampersand in there or something like that.
Yes. Totally messed us up.
And that would fuck everything. Oh, I see.
Yeah,
That's interesting. Okay, cool.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it works. This system works for us. I'm sorry it's a mouthful. And, check on our website. We will be putting a blog post on this, right? So we can actually put something on there that you guys can follow, actually look at for yourselves and kind of get an idea.
Yeah.
But, the idea, honestly, that what we're trying to prevent is, don't be haphazard.
Yeah.
Don't just kind of name things because it's convenient to just slap something in place. And you will lose it. You will forget. And if you don't have a system, you don't know consistently what to look for.
Exactly.
That's key.
Exactly.
That's what the whole point of this episode is going to be about, or is about, is to kind of create a system that you can keep consistently.
Yeah.
So when the time comes to go search for something, you can easily pull that bad boy up.
Big time.
Absolutely.
So much better. So much better. And you'll thank yourself later on because that certainly, if you have any kind of long-term client base, like you said, we got clients that are in the 3,000s.
Absolutely.
Quite often I'm drawing into the 28s for stuff. You know what I mean? And
right?
it's like, yeah, exactly. You're going to want to know just what that stuff, and I can say, somebody be like, when was this done? I was like, oh, okay, I know with this exactly where this lives.
Right? Totally.
And it's so handy. It's so handy to have it.
You'll be thanking us when you're saving yourself thousands of dollars and tons of aggravation hours.
Yes, and you're creating. That's the important part. You're creating.
Thing, right?
You're not looking for shit.
You're spending time
because
doing what you love.
You've done the back end stuff. You don't have to worry about that.
Sweet.
Create.
Yeah. Well, I think that's almost wraps this
That
bad
was a
boy
pretty
up,
good
right?
one. It was kind of boring,
No,
but it was
I hope it's
awesome
not.
though.
I mean-
no, I mean maybe boring to kind of a topic.
Yeah.
But I think it's still exciting to me. Like this
Yeah.
is kind of like this is part of the magic of this, right? Like it's
So let me just throw this out. If any of you actually made it this late, when you hit us up on Instagram because you were awesome and actually left us an awesome review, put down something about this episode and we'll actually give you a second vote, okay? Our secret, because I'm curious. Our secret, second vote, do this and it'll increase your chances on getting those AirPods because I'm curious. But man, you guys are badass if you made it this far.
that's exactly good for you.
Good for you. All right. I think that almost wraps us up, buddy.
Yep. I think that was good.
I hope you guys found some useful stuff or even just a little bit on keeping yourselves organized. By all means, guys, please leave us that review. Hit us up on our Instagram, follow us, like us, send us a message because we're commenting with everybody, okay? By all means, share us with your friends. And I hope if you have any other great ideas in the future, drop us a line and let us know what you want to cover.
Yeah, totally. Love to hear you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is awesome. We've got a great bunch.
Yes.
All right, everybody.
Okay.
My name is Massimo.
And my name is Sean.
Stay creative
And stay angry.
Peace.